Today, we're kicking things off with something that would have looked like pure science fiction to the machinists of the 1960s and 70s. Back in those days, making a complex metal part meant moving it from machine to machine, from the lathe to the mill, carefully repositioning, reclamping, remeasuring every single time. One small error in setup could ruin hours of work. It took skilled hands, sharp eyes, and a whole lot of patience. What you're watching right now is a milling-turned-CNC machine in action, and it is, without exaggeration, one of the most impressive pieces of engineering in a modern machine shop. So what exactly is a milling turn? Great question. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of machining. It combines two fundamental metalworking operations into one single powerhouse machine: turning and milling. Turning is the process where the workpiece, the raw metal blank, spins at high speed, while a cutting tool stays relatively stationary, shaving away material to create cylindrical shapes. Think of a classic wood lathe, but for hardened steel. Milling, on the other hand, is when the cutting tool itself rotates at high speed while the workpiece remains fixed or moves in controlled paths, allowing the machine to cut slots, drill holes, carve contours, and create complex three-dimensional features. Traditionally, these were two completely separate machines, but a milling-turned-CNC integrates both capabilities into what the industry calls a multitasking machine, or MTM. The real magic? One-hit machining. That's the term engineers use when a complex part is completed from start to finish without ever being removed from the machine. No reclamping, no repositioning, no transfer between work cells. The part goes in raw and comes out finished. Watch closely as the machine transitions seamlessly from turning mode, where the chuck spins the workpiece, to live tooling mode, where driven spindles come in from the side to mill features, drill cross holes, or cut angled surfaces. On some advanced models, you'll even see a secondary spindle that grabs the part and machines the back face automatically. The computer control system, the CNC brain, manages every single axis of movement simultaneously. We're talking 5-axis capability on many modern milling turn centers, meaning the machine can reach geometries that were simply impossible with older equipment. The tolerances we're talking about here? We're down to microns. 1 micron is 1,000th of a millimeter. The machine holds dimensions tighter than a human hair. Industries like aerospace, medical device manufacturing, oil and gas, and automotive rely on this technology every day to produce turbine components, orthopedic implants, valve bodies, and transmission shafts. Parts where precision isn't just important, it's literally a matter of life and death. From the old-school machinists running manual lathes in the 1950s to the engineers programming these multi-axis marvels today, the spirit of craftsmanship never changed. The tools just got a whole lot smarter. This is the Bailey Industrial RDB50 hydraulic rotary drawbender, working on a piece of 60.3 mm outer diameter stainless steel tube with a 3.9 mm wall thickness. And the task? A clean, precise 180-degree bend, a U-turn in solid stainless steel. The RDB50 is a professional-grade machine built for exactly this kind of demanding work. It uses a rotary draw bending process. The tube is clamped against a fixed bend die, and as the bend arm rotates, it draws the tube around the die in a smooth, controlled arc. A pressure die supports the outside of the tube, while a mandrel inside the tube prevents collapse and wrinkling during the bend. Stainless steel by nature is tough. It springbacks after bending, meaning the machine must slightly overbend to achieve the exact final angle. Experienced operators account for this springback in their setup. What you're watching is an armature winding machine, specifically the WZB2G rotor winding machine, performing one of the most precise and repeatable operations in electrical motor manufacturing. Let's take a step back for a moment. Every electric motor, whether it's in your garage door opener, your power drill, your HVAC blower, or an industrial pump, contains a rotor. The rotor is the rotating core of the motor, and it's wound with coils of copper wire that, when energized, create a magnetic field that makes the motor spin. This machine automates the entire winding process with remarkable consistency. Watch as the armature core, the slotted iron cylinder at the center, is loaded into the fixture. The machine's tensioning arm draws the copper wire from a spool under controlled tension, feeds it through a guide head, and precisely places each turn into the correct slot of the armature. The WZB2G handles multi-slot winding patterns automatically, following a programmed sequence that ensures each coil is wound to exact specifications: correct wire gauge, correct number of turns, correct slot position. The machine can handle wire gauges from very fine to relatively heavy gauge, making it versatile across a wide range of motor sizes. Once winding is complete, the coil ends are routed to the commutator, the copper segments at the end of the rotor, where they'll be soldered or welded to complete the electrical circuit. The result is a perfectly wound rotor, consistent from the first unit to the 10,000th, ready for final assembly into a motor that could last 20 years of continuous operation. That's the promise of precision automation, quality you can count on every single time. We're wrapping up today's video with something that connects us directly to the origins of metalworking itself: forge hammering. At Rotors Steel Company Limited, they've taken a craft that dates back thousands of years and elevated it into a precision industrial process. What you're watching is closed die hammer forging, and it remains one of the strongest methods of metal forming ever devised by human hands. Here's how it works. A steel billet, a solid block of heated metal, is placed into the lower die. The upper die, shaped as the mirror image of the finished part, is driven downward by a massive drop hammer or pneumatic ram with tremendous force. In an instant, the metal flows under that impact, filling every contour of the die cavity. But it's rarely done in one strike. Watch carefully. The operators move the workpiece through a series of progressive die stations. Each station preforms the metal a little closer to the final shape, allowing the grain structure of the steel to flow with the geometry of the part rather than being cut across. This is the secret to forged strength. The crystalline grain of the metal follows the contours of the part, like growth rings in a tree. The result is a part with superior mechanical properties compared to casting or machining from bar stock. Higher tensile strength, better fatigue resistance, tighter grain structure. That's why critical components, crankshafts, connecting rods, axle shafts, gear blanks, and structural brackets, are forged rather than cast. At Rotors, skilled operators work alongside the machines, reading the heat color of the metal, from bright orange to dark red, to judge temperature and timing. The hammers may be automated now, the dies are precision machined to tight tolerances. But the fundamental act, shaping metal with force and heat, is the same craft that built civilization. Now we're moving from the precision of the machine shop to the raw, primal power of the steel mill. What you're seeing here is one of the most dramatic moments in the entire steel-making process: slag tapping and metal pouring. And trust me, once you understand what's actually happening in that enormous vessel, you'll never look at a steel beam or a car frame the same way again. Let's set the scene. Inside that massive furnace, whether it's an electric arc furnace or a basic oxygen furnace, temperatures are running somewhere between 903, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. For context, that's roughly twice the temperature needed to melt aluminum. During the steelmaking process, raw materials, iron ore, scrap steel, coke, and limestone are melted down and refined. As the metal melts and chemistry is adjusted, a byproduct called slag rises to the top. Slag is a molten mixture of silica, calcium oxide, aluminum oxide, and other impurities that have been drawn out of the metal. Think of it like the scum that floats to the top of a pot of soup, except this scum is liquid rock at over 500 degrees. What you're watching is the controlled removal of that slag from the furnace. The massive ladle car, a vessel that can hold hundreds of tons of material, is precisely positioned beneath the furnace tap hole. When the tap is opened, the molten slag cascades out in a brilliant orange-white torrent, lighting up the entire mill floor. The colors you're seeing are actually telling you the temperature. White-yellow means we're at the hottest point, above 800 degrees Fahrenheit. As it cools even slightly, it shifts to orange, then red, then dark red, as it begins to solidify. After slag removal, the furnace is tapped for the liquid steel itself, a cleaner, denser material that flows beneath the slag layer. The steel pours into the ladle at a controlled rate, and the process of secondary metallurgy begins, final chemistry adjustments, degassing, and temperature management before the steel heads to the continuous caster. Here's something most people don't know. That slag isn't wasted. It's cooled, crushed, and recycled into road-based material, cement production, and even fertilizer. Nothing goes to waste in a modern steel mill. The entire operation is a masterclass in industrial efficiency.